Well, my goodness, college football is officially back, and it feels very good. We got week one games that we went over already, and we're going to go into week two with this top 25 here on this channel. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you want more college football content, and check out my stuff over on TikTok. All right, here's the top 25 for you, everybody. At number one, we got the Georgia Bulldogs. They had the most impressive win of the weekend, in my opinion, looking at them dominating the Clemson Tigers, who I think is a really good team, but it's the fashion, or not that good of a team, but it's the fashion in which Georgia beat them that I'm impressed with. Number two, the Texas Longhorns. They looked amazing on Saturday. What a great introduction. Number three, Ohio State. That defense was on point. And that offense, they really turned it on in that second half. They look great as well, ready for a national title run potentially. Number four, Alabama. Their offense just completely exploded with Jalen Milroe only throwing the ball 9 times. Big play after big play. But is that going to be something that is sustainable throughout the course of the year and the course of SEC play? Can they lean on explosive plays the way that they could against Western Kentucky? But that defense also looks amazing. So not only do they have that explosive play ability, but they have a great defense. Ole Miss looked great against Furman. Nothing to rag on. Number 6, Penn State. Maybe the second most impressive performance of the weekend, as Penn State, man, their offense really kicked it into gear. Andy Koldenecki's run game was so creative and so fun. Penn State 6. Oregon, talk about underwhelming. I think a lot of the mistakes were correctable, but a lot of them aren't. Dillon Gabriel was not impressive to me. Oh, I know. He went 41 of 49 for 350 yards, but so many misreads, so many situations where he was just scared to challenge Idaho down the field. His average completion, average air yards per completion, 4.1 yards. Not good. He did not challenge him down the field. 41 of 49, but off of nothing but screens, flats, and checkdowns when he didn't need to. Number 8, Notre Dame. Impressive performance at Texas A&M, especially by their defense. I thought that they were the best defense in America this past week. Now, will that be the case throughout the course of the season? We'll see. They have a pretty weak schedule. They should be in the college football playoff when it's all said and done. Number 9, Michigan. Talk about misreads and stuff like that. Davis Warren was not very good at reading a defense. He just didn't know what he was looking at. Quite honestly, he didn't know what he was looking at. That offensive line struggled insanely, and Kalel Mullings was the only running back making the offensive line right when they were wrong. Their whole offense is Colston Loveland, and their defense, very, very good. Number 10, Tennessee. Really good football team at Tennessee. Watch out for them. Nico looked very good. They can run the ball. They got a good offensive line, and they might have a defense. Number 11, Missouri. They also looked really good. Not much to say about them beating Murray State. Number 12, Miami. Great performance on the road at Florida. The only worry I have with Miami is this going to be like fool's gold the way that Miami has given us in the past? That's my hesitation on them. Number 13, Utah took care of business. Cam Rising with 5 passing touchdowns. Brant Keithy also looked like he's getting back to his normal self. Number 14, USC. So impressed with that defense. You could talk about, are they fake on defense? Was LSU just not that good? Look, USC was just physical. And that's all you need to see, is that their mentality was clearly different. And that's why they could be better this year. Number 15, Oklahoma. Not much to say about them. They were dominant. Thought that their offense, had some hiccups, but they were pretty good for the most part. Number 16, Kansas State. They're going to be a long-term play here with Avery Johnson at quarterback. Number 17, Oklahoma State with one of the more underrated performances. The way that they buried South Dakota State I thought was very impressive. Number 18, the Kansas Jayhawks. Jalen Daniels and this squad, they're up in talent on offense is really good. They got a solid secondary, maybe the best defense that Lance Leipold's had there. We'll see how it plays out. Number 19, LSU. I still think they're a really good team. What I think I saw on Sunday night was a heavyweight battle, two potential playoff worthy teams. I don't know if it's going to work out that way with LSU's schedule being that tough, but if they're an 8-4 football team, that means they would have been good enough to make the playoff and compete in it. Number 20, Iowa, great defense. We'll see if their offense can turn it into gear. I think a lot of that offensive stuff was quite honestly fluky. I didn't think that that was something that was sustainable, the way that they got big plays against Illinois State, but I guess only time will tell, and they did it without Kirk Ferentz. Number 21, Arizona. That defense was not good, specifically at stopping the quarterback run. So I'm going to look at teams like UCF as a bad matchup. West Virginia has a bad matchup. But other than that, like their secondary is pretty good, defended the pass well. It was New Mexico. So take that with a grain of salt. But that offense was so dynamic with Tetairoa McMillan going as crazy as he did. Number 22, NC State. They did not look good. But you got to realize this is the first game NC State played with all of those transfers coming together. And the only one who really splashed was the one that was in Robert and I's system a year ago, which was Casey Concepcion. Number 23, Louisville. I have not been the biggest fan of Louisville. But in week one, they looked impressive. Track record going back to last year and trust in Jeff Brom. Not high on Louisville, but they might be better than I gave them credit for. They did it without Cullen Lacey even in the game. Number 24, Texas A&M. Still think they're a good team. I think their offense, that is going to be their worst game of the year. They will get better. They will run the ball better, and they will be able to throw the ball better as the season goes along. Even if they play a defense that's going to be equal to Notre Dame, I still think A&M will not play that poorly on offense again, and they still almost won. Shows how good that defensive line really is for Texas A&M. Number 25, Georgia Tech. The only reason I put Georgia Tech here instead of like Boston College or anybody else is because I feel like they do have the physicality to be able to compete, and I do think that they have the skill players to also compete. When you take the combination of who is the most complete team, Georgia Tech is right on that line with a bunch of these other teams that I considered. But I think that they're the most complete team to date out of the teams that I considered for that 25th spot. Other teams that I did consider, Wisconsin, I'm very high on them. They struggled a little bit, which is why I kind of want to hold off on them. Boise State, they struggled on defense. They got an interesting matchup against a similar style of offense and Will Stein's Oregon team this weekend. I also considered Boston College after their win last night. I thought that they looked very good, and Thomas Castellanos was very dynamic. I just don't know how much of that is going to really sustain itself throughout the course of the season. But I tried to tell you, Bill O'Brien, he's a good coach, and he's a good head coach. And a lot of people didn't believe me. A lot of people doubted it. So far, checks out. Anyway, those are really the teams that I considered. USF is another one who I think has that top-end potential that I considered. We'll see them go up against Alabama this week. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video.